Ready.
Set.
Gamecast.
Welcome to Ready, Set, Gamecast, a bi-weekly podcast about video games and clubbing. I'm Bryce, and I'm joined by the person who knows how guys should act at clubs, Darian.
Hi, that's me. I've never been to a club, but I know how guys should act at it.
Damn it.
This next subtitle should be for her.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's a girl, but the man who has never been to a club in his life, Teddy Chinaris.
I mean, maybe like at a kind of funny thing, but I mean, those are all just bars. So like, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think a club is a specific thing that there's got to be like dancing and stuff.
Yeah. Nah, I'm a real introverted boy.
And our special guest, the most respectful clubsmith, Bryant.
I feel like respectful clubsmith has multiple connotations. Like somebody that spends way too much time in a club?
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
You're just the smithery of clubs.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
A smithery of clubs?
If I ever play D&D, that's going to be my class, the clubsmith.
I wonder if that is a thing that there's probably you could go hard into crafting and just be like the person who makes all the weapons for the rest of the party.
Yeah.
Just like the guy's sword breaks and like, hold on, I got you, and he does nothing else. He just waits for someone's stuff to break. He just like during the night, he's just like whittling down people's weapons so that they'll break halfway through the fight, so that he seems important.
Damn, that's really sad. It's a really sad existence.
You know, this title is sounding more and more appropriate. You know, it's definitely true.
This isn't written down, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Bryant, where would people know you from? What do you do?
I host a little show on a platform that nobody really goes to anymore. It's called YouTube, and it's called the Nerf Report. You know, it's a weekly gaming news show. Every single week, we take all the week's gaming news and nerf it down into one show, so it's easy to consume.
Nice. Unlike what we do here.
Yeah.
Where we ramble on for a while.
Yeah, we like to take a few news stories and just go on about them as long as possible, or not necessarily them, just they're in there somewhere with the rest of the things we're talking about.
It just, some things end up being way longer than others, just for no reason. Like the story that we think is going to take like 30 seconds ends up taking up half the show, and we're like, how did that even happen? Yeah, so good.
But let's get into the show. Also, hey, guys, when you're at clubs, don't rub against girls. They don't like that. But let's talk about video games.
This coming from Bryce's girlfriend. She
Yeah.
wanted to give she wanted him to give a PSA to everybody.
My girlfriend was in Cancun, and bad stuff happened at the club, and she was not happy about it. And don't do that. Don't be that guy.
Not cool, man.
Okay. Bryant, what games have you been playing?
You know, first off, I've been playing Days Gone. I'm finally getting the chance to play this game, and I travel a lot for a living, so what I try to do is, like, when I'm in a hotel, I don't get to do all the patches and stuff like that, so I know there was a lot of complaints about this game when it first came out, so I purposefully played this game with no patches, so I could kind of get an idea where people were coming from, and then I updated the game, because without patches, the game was really, really, really rough. But so far, I'm having a ton of fun with it.
How far into Days Gone are you?
I don't know how to give that answer without spoilers. I've got to Wizard's Island.
Okay. Darian, about how much time did you put in before you bounced off?
I don't even remember.
Okay. I was trying to put a gauge to see if you're maybe getting farther or something, but Darian gave it the good college try before just, I guess.
Did she though?
I think I'm at a point in the game where it has to be ending, but I've already said that twice in the game, where I'm like, oh, the game's coming to an end, and then it's like, oh, here's a brand new saga. Like, this game is literally the Return of the King of video games.
I was just going to say that. It's like Return of the King.
Yeah.
I have that issue with Red Dead Redemption 2, where there was a point where it's like we're all getting together, the big thing's gonna happen, it's the deal, and then the game keeps going, and I look at the save deal, and it's like you're at the halfway point. I'm like, what? No, the credits should be rolling. This is the epilogue. We're in the epilogue, right? And like, no, apparently I got a lot to go. So.
Yeah, there's and to be fair with the game, like it's very repetitive. Like that complaint that people make about the game, it's true. There's only one story arc that I care about the game, and that's all I've been playing. It's just I want to finish that. Once I finish that, if the game's not over, I think I'm just like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
Bummer.
So I'm not gonna lie, I had to look up what Days Gone was.
Oh my god.
That's why when I asked her how far she got, she was like, yes, that game. I know. I love that one.
I was like, I know that I didn't like this game, but what was it?
Which one? Which one was the game that I didn't like? There's so many on that list.
No, I played about 10 hours. I got past the part that had like the game breaking bug in it. I didn't know that was a thing, so that was good. But other than that, yeah, I got very bored very quickly with that gameplay.
It's really sad that it turned out the way it was, because I was really excited about it before it came out, at least with the premise. But
I think it's a really weird place for PlayStation because, you know, they bring out God of War, which is just insanely good. They bring out Spider-Man, which is really good. But then they bring out Days Gone, which isn't a bad game. It's like a B+, but, you know, it doesn't hold up to like Spider-Man and God of War, which is just weird.
Yeah. It's in a world of in a world of however like billions of games that are out right now and that are competing for everyone's times, like it becomes less and less acceptable to release 7s.
Yeah, no,
which I used to love 7s, but
yeah.
I think the bar just keeps rising, that what would be, you know, a 7 before is now closer to a 5 because the 10 is more better than the old 10s. If you compare a 10 now to a 10 a few years ago, it's like, no, that's an 8 now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's hard to keep up. But what else did you say you were been playing?
Box VR, which is a boxing Beat Saber ripoff where you literally have gloves and you're punching things. I've been playing Apex Legends, getting ready for Season 2. And then I've been playing Flappy Royale, which it's free to play online. It's Flappy Bird, but it's a battle royale. And you literally start on a bus. And there's 100 other players, and you have to be the last one making it through all of the pipes. It's so insanely addicting and fun. And it's like, awesome. Literally while I was waiting for this to pop up, all I was doing was just clicking away on my keyboard. It was just like flap, 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 and just so much fun.
That's awesome.
That reminds me of another weird battle royale that exists, that somebody made basically Mario Battle Royale, where you were playing through like classic Mario levels with a bunch of other players, and you couldn't directly like jump on the other players or anything, but you could hit a green shell that bounces back and forth, and that green shell can hit other players.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but they of course Nintendo found out and you know, threw the lawyers at them real quick. So what was funny about it is they pulled out all things, like it's not Mario anymore, it's not like all the stuff that is Nintendo's property got pulled out and just replaced with very similar things. And now it's like DMCA Battle Royale, where it's the exact same game and gameplay with just slightly different assets that they can't sue them for.
That's incredible.
Speaking of like making Mario levels and games and whatnot, Super Mario Maker 2 came out last week. And I haven't been playing a bunch of it, but I definitely played a little bit of it. I hopped on one night, got through like the basics of creating levels, and then played like a bunch of the ones that were up there as like the popular courses. And then I played through a bunch of the story, only like 4 or 5 of the story levels, which there's apparently like 100. There's 100 story levels, and I'm already stuck on like number 5, so that's gonna take me a while to get through. But it's good, man. It's awesome.
There's 100 like core storyline where like the main Toad will give you 100 ones, but there's like some side ones where like other characters might have missions for you. So yeah, there's more than just.
I was happy
100.
to see that they had so much like Nintendo created content in there, because it is Mario Maker, but also like a regular Mario game, but like kind of. But it's a regular Mario game, but Nintendo gets to be even weirder because they get to make levels in every single style of Mario game. Like, it's super cool. I definitely want to play that more. It is a game that I knew that I wanted to get and just have on my Switch. So, like, because that's going to grow and get better and better over time when the community makes better and better levels.
There's this thing I saw on YouTube this week for Mario Maker that sold me on the game, where this guy's making escape rooms inside of Mario Maker. Where you're running through the course and you have to be like, oh, if I hit this box, that's going to open up this room. And it's literally like you have to memorize the pattern all the way through it or else you die. And I was like, oh, that's a really cool concept.
That's awesome.
I think like I've been watching a lot of Mario Maker streams. I don't have it yet myself, but even in the official Nintendo levels, Mario Maker basically turns that platforming concept that is a normal Mario game and turns it into puzzles. Like, even the normal Nintendo-made levels will have puzzle aspects to them where they'll, like, have misdirects of, like, oh, you need to go over here, but actually you need to go over there, or you need to, like, look for things, and there's a lot of, like, puzzling to it. And especially, that's something that's very true in, like, levels made by other people. I mean, you have in different like kind of categories of Mario Maker levels where there's like the intensely high skilled platformer one, or you have kind of the puzzle aspect to it, or you have the like, hey, this is a troll level and you're just gonna die a bunch before you figure out how to survive. But
the one that I'm already stuck on is like a puzzle that I can't figure out, and I'm like, god damn it. Yeah. So like I love Mario games, but puzzles, I'm so bad at puzzles. I stay away from like puzzle games in general just because I'm so bad at them. But hopefully I can get through it, then get to more standard Mario levels, or hopefully I just get smarter.
Not that one.
What else? No, I mean that's the goal, but I don't know about it.
Teddy, you're a Destiny 2 player. Don't you have to like do puzzles for that?
Yeah, but like as a group. And
you could be the dumb one. You could be told what to do in that one.
Yeah, like I haven't done a blind raid in 2 years, something like that. It's been a while. So, but yeah, I've actually I looked at all the games that I looked at my past broadcasts to be like, what did I play the last 2 weeks? And I was like, oh, I've basically just played Destiny. Like, I really am back down that hole, which I'm really liking it. I'm having a lot of fun. I mean, Season of Opulence came out, I think, about 2 weeks ago, and that's been a lot of fun. The new content. Tomorrow, there's a new exotic gun quest that's going to start, and I'm trying to coordinate with my friends, being like, are you going to be on tomorrow night? Because I need to get this gun. And the new, I have yet to do the new raid, though. I'll let everybody know when I do that, but I've been trying to organize it. I tried to organize one last week, and then only like 4 people showed up. And then somebody who did show up was like way lower light than they needed to be to do the raid. So I was like, well, okay, guess we're not doing that. But I will do that eventually. It's just organizing and whatnot. But it's been a lot of fun. I got the new the old exotic rocket launcher Truth. I caught up in a bunch of my old stuff. I hit max light. So now I can just focus on real end game stuff. Like I can focus on getting the guns I want and all that. I don't have to focus on getting power drops. So yeah, having a lot of fun with Destiny 2. And other than that, I mean, Mario Maker 2 for a little bit. I hopped on with a couple of friends and played Modern Warfare Remastered one night and just played like private matches in like gun game and stuff. That was a lot of fun. And I'm still grinding away at Rogue Legacy because that is a game that I love to just always have on my Switch. And I started, my friend Super Killer Bunny, he's been on the show before, and he will be on the show in the future.
He'll be hosting the show, he will be taking over the show in a little bit.
Yeah, he was on our Game of the Year show a while back. He is really into a little game called Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn.
Which we'll be talking about MMO. Later.
Yes, which we will be talking about later. But the game itself, I want to talk about right now, and the fact that like I love MMOs as a genre, so whenever I Google like top 3 or top 5 MMOs right now, it always comes up as like one of the top MMOs right now for population. And I played it a long time ago and tried it out for like an afternoon, and it just didn't really click with me, and I didn't really love it. But I tried it on console. I don't know, and it's been a long time. I've always felt like I was missing something with that game. Like it's the one MMO that I didn't really give a fair shot. So they revamped the trial. So I downloaded the trial, and I'm gonna try that out this next week because Bunny kind of convinced me to try it out. I downloaded the trial. It was like a 14-day trial before, and now it's literally you can play up until level 35 for free.
Oh, wow.
And the cool thing about that MMO is that it's on one character. You can play any class. Like, you can switch out any class and level up any class. So you can play up to level 35 on each one. So that's pretty neat. So I'm gonna give that a shot. I made my character, but I haven't had time to hop in. I'll let you guys know next week.
That's what Teddy needs in his life. Another game as a service game.
Another huge time sink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, you just mentioned Destiny 2, and then you throw another MMO on top of that, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
No, Teddy, list off in the last, let's say, 3 months, the like games as services / MMOs that you have tried jumping in on or played.
Let's just say ones that I've launched, or let's say ones that I have downloaded.
Yeah.
Let's look at my desktop.
Oh.
Elder Scrolls Online, I bought the expansion for that came out in this summer, and I have not played the expansion. I've had Guild Wars 2 on here for a long time, and I play Guild Wars 2. That's a fun game. I play Lord of the Rings Online with a friend of mine. And Lineage 2 I downloaded because she really likes that, and that's a really old MMO, and I haven't actually launched that one, but I downloaded it. Final Fantasy XIV. I downloaded Star Wars The Old Republic because I have a friend in Australia who really likes that game and he wants to play with me.
Those servers are still live?
Yeah, SWTOR is still going. There's a new expansion too. Yeah.
Wow.
It's so funny to me. There are so many MMOs that people, like, whenever I mention, they're like, that's still going? Like DC Universe Online, I said that to a friend the other day, and they're like, "That's still up," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's still it's coming to Switch and like this summer." So that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 MMOs on my desktop.
Yeah.
And if you include Destiny 2, that's 7.
You gotta include Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is an MMO.
Yeah. I mean, and it's the one that I spend the most time with. And I also have Path of Exile on here, which is a huge time sink as well. But I haven't opened that as 2, but I've just heard a lot of good things, so I downloaded it.
Everyone knows that it's great to try and play 7 MMOs at the same time.
That'll go well.
Darian, what games have you been playing?
Mostly Breath of the Wild. Also some League, and a tiny bit of Teamfight Tactics as of today.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
That's the new League game, right?
That's the Auto Chess League game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's the new auto chess.
I will say I played Dota Underlords, which is the other one for like a night.
I think there's 3 of them out. There's the Dota one, the League one, and I don't know who the third one is.
There's more than 3. Those are just they're just
Auto Chess I think was an old mode for like, the Warcraft mods where, that eventually became Dota and stuff. I think there was a mode called Auto Chess. But I think like, Dota made theirs, League made one, like the big ones. I imagine that there's other auto chess that exist, but I think there's 3 big ones. I'd probably have to look it up, but I wanted to know about auto chess because I do this little video game podcast, and I was like, I need to know what the hot new trends are. So, and I heard that the League one was supposed to be the most interesting. I think they're all pretty similar, but I was like, I'll try the League one, and then it's not League. I think it helps to know League at the very least, to be able to identify the characters, because there's you can like right click on a character to know who they are, what their stats are, and what their stuff is. But when they're in the carousel, it's basically a kind of selecting characters and they'll fight on their own, but it's if you have different characters and where they're positioned, they'll give boosts to each other and different things, and you can also assign items. There's some different management stuff, but the actual like fighting is up to the characters themselves. You're just kind of selecting your team.
Yeah, it's super interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed it. It's very like there's a steep kind of learning curve, but I played Dota Underlords for like an hour or something like that, an hour or two, and I had some friends trying to explain it and whatnot, and I wanted to, the League one was coming out literally the next day, and I wanted to download that and give that a shot because I am way more, like, I'm actually familiar with those characters.
Yeah.
But when I went to download it, I saw that it's in the client, like you have to download the client, and I was like, oh god, nope.
Oh.
That is too close to the falling down that rabbit hole again. I can't do it.
I downloaded League. I found out I already had a League account, which I was like, when did I get this?
Yeah.
And then, it's a little like, it's like a mode in there. But yeah, for the most part, I've never played League. I do not know the characters other than I know Darian's favorite, Jinx. I know what she looks like, and I know Becker's favorite, Misfortune. Also, I've selected Misfortune in the deal because it's like, this is Becker's favorite. Misfortune sucked. She like totally tanked. She died so quick.
You just don't know how to place.
Probably if I had a better like comp for her, it might have worked better.
That's what it seems like those games are all about, is just getting the right composition of the team.
So if I wasn't set up to pull her into the team because I didn't have a bunch of pirates and shooter people and stuff. But yeah, for the most part, you can go in not knowing any of the characters. The only time that really be able to know these characters is, and there's a every so often there'll be a carousel where the characters just walk in a circle, and you'll be able to just walk up and grab one of them to pull back, and depending on how you're doing determines when your turn is to grab one. You have to be able to just know which character is which, because there's no way to click on them and see who they are. You just have to be like, oh yes, that's that character, and they're going to be good for my team. Other than that, it's really easy to jump into. And well, Becker's had played the game, and she knew, and she walked me through it, so that helped me get know what I was doing, because there's not really a tutorial. It doesn't teach you what to do.
In Dota Underlords, there is a tutorial, but it's real bad.
Oh.
It's real bad. They kind of throw you into just like a pre-made match and are like, here is where you click to go to the store, and good luck.
Darian, now I know that you were very unhappy with it the first time you played it. Now that you've done a few more matches, are you enjoying it?
It's not that I was unhappy, it was that I had literally no idea what was going on, and I was told that you couldn't leave. So I wanted to do something else, and I didn't know what was going on ultimately. But I mean, now it's like, kind of fun. I don't know. I was going to play a couple games after this, but now I can't because it's too late.
Oh.
I mean, that's basically how I felt about it too, where I was like, I have no idea what's happening. This is a little like much. I don't know. But then the more I played, the more I was like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of like this.
I mean, a lot of that game is kind of the luck of like, are you getting the characters that you need for your team? But other than like, there is definitely a matter of strategy of like, picking the right team and going for the right stuff to counter different things, and just the fact of how you have your characters placed is huge. But it's really cool, and I'm definitely not a League person, but I'm having fun with it. So. And it's free.
Maybe I will download.
It's free, so you should check it out if you're even slightly
free,
interested.
but like, is it really if it costs me another 300 hours if I lose my life to League again? You know what I mean?
See, I'm curious how they're going to monetize Teamfight Tactics, because right now there's no way. Like, they going to sell skins for the Teamfight Tactics, or
you can buy the little legends.
Yeah, you can buy skins for your character. You're right, but I guess.
And it's all loot box. I don't think you can buy the individual skins. I think you have to buy an egg and hatch it to hope that you get the right skin.
Oh, well, but I imagined, like, if you had a skin for Misfortune, they would let that apply to the Misfortune in Teamfight Tactics. But Becker's was saying that they might actually have the different skins be different characters with different stuff.
I don't know if that's the case. I've seen that there are some of them that thematically are wearing different skins to fit like what their roles are, because there's like yordles and pirates and demons and void and stuff like that. So like the misfortune that comes up in the game is Captain Fortune, because that's a very pirate themed skin. And like I think Graves has a pirate skin too, Cutthroat. No, that's not her default.
Oh, okay.
And Graves has his Cutthroat skin on, and so I've seen, like, I think thematically and Katarina is an assassin, and they have one of her rare skins on for her as well.
Interesting.
So I don't think they're gonna incorporate a way for you to pick skins for your champions. They seem to have already picked skins that fit thematically with like what their roles are.
Interesting. Okay, well we'll see.
Most of them have basic. But
we'll see how that game evolves. What else have you been playing though?
Always Dead by Daylight. I sunk about 12 hours into Civ 6 with a couple friends. That was fun. I played some Monster Prom with Bryson Beckers, and then I played some more Monster Prom by myself.
I got you DLC for it, and then you're like, "Can I play it?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then I got a message of, I didn't play it because I spilled coffee on my computer or on my keyboard.
I broke my keyboard, yeah.
Oh, no.
I eventually got to it, but it was like 5 hours after I was planning on being done with Monster Prom. Yeah, I broke my keyboard. I got a new keyboard that's almost exactly the same.
Oh,
and
okay.
my old keyboard's
I was wondering if you like cleaned it or got some, but I guess you just replaced it.
I did. I picked out every key and cleaned it super, super much as well as I could. Air dried it, pulled everything out of it, and yeah, it was broken.
Yeah.
I think I might be able to like fix it if I like take it all the way apart again and give it a bath, which you can do with mechanical keyboards, I guess. But I want to do more research before I do that, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I wanted to play video games.
That seems like a lot of work.
So I went and bought a new keyboard instead.
What was the DLC fun?
The DLC, yeah, it's got it's got a character that's like a secret character in the base game that you can unlock through like very particular rare scenarios, and then but they make her just like an everyday character, which is pretty neat. I love her, and I got a date with her, and it was great.
Congrats.
Thanks. Her name is Zoe. She's an otaku or not an otaku. She's an eldritch monster who writes fan fictions, and if I were to put my 12-year-old self in a video game, this is what I would come up as.
Are you gonna cosplay as her?
No, because it'd be a really complicated cosplay. She's got like tentacle hair and like multiple eyes, and she's like purple skinned and
fucking Japan.
She's cute, but it'd be a really tough cosplay.
She's cute with that tentacle hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad you weren't at 2D Con last year, because there was the one dude who was the Hellboy but not Hellboy guy was there, and
yeah, Damien.
Yeah, Damien. Somebody was cosplaying as Damien, and he was pissed off because everybody was like, "Oh, Hellboy," and he's like, "I'm not Hellboy."
I mean, it doesn't help that Damien like also has like shaved one of his horns.
He looks very much like Hellboy. And I managed, after somebody incorrectly called him Hellboy, I had recently played Monster Prom, so I was like, "Oh shit, oh, you're Monster Prom guy." And it's like, "Oh yeah." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know, got you."
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
speaking of Dead by Daylight, I think it was 2 episodes ago, you guys pitched the idea of a Dead by Daylight movie. And I just want to say that I'm fully in. Whatever I can do to help you guys with this. I think it'd be fantastic.
You can be one of the survivors.
Expendables and Avengers, but horror. I'm in. That's awesome.
I don't know anything about Dead by Daylight, so I'll just be there with a GoPro. No, that would actually be sick.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to film it, honestly.
Yeah, like I think you would have at least one like a GoPro attached to a survivor as like a survivor cam, and then also like a wide shot to kind of focus on the killer, so that you can kind of have both sides of the, like, you know, players and stuff. You could do some interesting.
Yeah, I mean, over on my channel, one of the things I've always tried to toyed around in my head is like an idea of taking a video game and bringing it to the real world and inviting people to come play it. And Dead by Daylight's the one that I've always tried to figure out a way of, like, how could we make Dead by Daylight real at like a haunted house where there's one monster that's chasing you around and then there's puzzles scattered around the place and people have to find it. I think it'd be so fun, and it would be such a cool video as well.
Out of any sort of like idea like that, I think that's one of the games that would work really well with it.
So, copyright, trademark.
Nobody do it.
Darren, I see 2 more games on your list.
Also Move or Die, also PUBG. I played all those.
PUBG or PUBG Mobile?
Regular PUBG.
Oh, okay.
Before they put in the good stuff.
Yeah, I read an article when I was looking for news. It was a little bit too niche for us, but I saw that they added like a parkour and a bunch of new vehicles. So that's
cool.
I might hop back in just to check that out. I haven't played in at least a year or something. It's been a long time, but I think that'd be a fun Let's Play. There are like a lot of battle royales, but I feel like PUBG is the best one to jump around and just jump in and just like fuck around in, because you can just like jump in a car and just like honk the horn and shoot at people while driving by, and you can have a lot of fun with that. But like even Fortnite, which is all like cutesy and weird, is also like very serious. You can't really like goof around in that one as much as you could like PUBG. Yep. Okay, here's the games that I've been playing, because I think we're to that. I checked out Harry Potter Wizards Unite when that dropped, and I hate it. It's a bad game.
Oh, nice.
They took the elements of Pokemon Go and they slowed it down and made it boring. Like, so instead of catching Pokemon, which are like, you know, the actual game is all about catching Pokemon and like you have all these unique and interesting creatures. For Wizards Unite, you're basically catching things from Harry Potter. So like
wizard trash.
Yeah, basically like, oh, there's a dragon, but he's caught in a bubble, so you have to cast a spell to free him. And you're just drawing like a pattern, that like tracing a pattern on the screen, and you have to do it accurately and quickly. And yeah, it's not fun. Like there's a lot of like skill and interestingness about throwing a Pokeball in Pokemon Go, and tracing your screen lacks that.
I highly disagree. I think the one thing that Harry Potter Wizards Unite has over Pokemon Go is the actual gameplay is somewhat interesting instead of just throwing a Pokeball. Absolutely. I definitely think, I mean, I thought this from the get-go, is that like any sort of other franchise that comes out and tries to like capitalize on Pokemon Go's success and tries to do the same thing, it's never going to be as successful or even close, because nothing is Pokemon. Nothing, and it's also it works, right? Like Harry Potter as a franchise is not centered around going around catching wizard trash, right? Like Pokemon is centered around traveling the world and catching Pokemon, right? So it works.
Yeah, I mean,
Whereas Harry Potter, like, what are you gonna do with that?
Yeah, I mean, there's the like
thematically.
Also, instead of Pokeballs, you have energy. And that's like how often you can cast spells, and which I found super dumb. Energy doesn't come back on its own. You have to go to an inn and swipe the thing to get food so that you can get your energy back. And for a Pokeball, having Pokeballs not come back makes total sense. Energy should always come back over time. Like, what? I don't care if I haven't eaten in 3 days. If I take a nap, I'll have a little bit more energy than I.
Well, that's why you're going to the inn.
But
Gets food taken out.
yeah, the
Otherwise, he's walking around constantly.
the in thing feels like it's slower. Like I have to load in and swipe a thing and watch a little animation just to get that. It takes way longer than it does to swipe a Pokestop. Like the entire experience feels longer and more drawn out than Pokemon. And yeah, it just doesn't work with Harry Potter the way it does with Pokemon. Minecraft Earth, we're taking AR but matching it to our game. You're building stuff in Minecraft Earth. We're giving you a unique experience. Whereas Wizards Unite is just slapping Pokemon Go mechanics into Harry Potter for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I installed it for I think a day, and then I deleted it off my phone. I was like, I can't play with this right now.
Yeah.
It's just, like to your point, I think Pokemon is just such a simple concept of you gotta catch them all. Whereas it just doesn't, like, they tried to form that around the Harry Potter universe, but it just didn't. I don't feel like it, blends well.
Yeah, they have this story going on, which is supposed to have all this intrigue of what happened to the five, and Harry Potter and Hermione are there, and they're voice acted not by their sound alikes. They're somewhat close, but it's like, I don't care about this. Like, I don't care about these five. I don't care if Harry Potter and Hermione are in it. Like, I don't care about this mystery. It's just like, I don't. It does not work in the way that Pokemon goes. Pokemon Go is simple, and you know what you're after and stuff, and you can't do a mystery about something that I'm not really that into to begin with. So
the other weird part is you don't really catch them; you just get stickers. And for some of them, you have to catch or get 5 stickers for you to unlock it in your book.
Yeah.
It's not just like, hey, I caught a Raichu and I have a Raichu. It's like, cool, before you can own that, you actually have to go catch 5 of those. It was just kind of a weird concept on it.
Yeah, there's so much of that just doesn't work in the way it does in everything else. Like Ingress, Niantic's first game was simple and it worked and it made sense, and Pokemon Go was simple and it worked and it made sense, and then Harry Potter was like, well, we saw you were real successful over there and people really love Harry Potter. Can we just shove them together? And it did not work.
I figured that's what this was going to be from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just, you can't do anything. Nothing is Pokemon.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine there will be people who play it and are into it, but it's just not gonna. There's gonna be a very niche group.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Somewhere there's a Digimon fan listening in their car, just raging, being like, God.
Since we're talking about it, I'm actually gonna jump ahead in the news. Okay. Harry Potter Wizards Unite has already announced a fan fest, which is buck wild. They waited, I think, a good year before the first Pokemon Go fan fest, which I will remind you was a shit show. It went real bad.
Yeah.
Like they did not have mobile connection. The servers were overloaded, and basically you could catch Pokemon everywhere but that park because you could not get a signal there. But that's not the issue that I feel like they're going to have with this one. The fact is, I don't think I imagine some people are going to go. Some people are just excited to show off their Harry Potter-ness and going to dress up, and it's going to be a great time. But it's going to be like 100 people. They're not going to make their money. It's going to be bad. I don't know.
Oh, I think this is going to sell out.
Really?
Yeah. Harry Potter fans are crazy fans. And it's one of those diehard, remember when the books came out and people were like camping out hours and hours just to read a book? It's like the book comes out, it'll be there tomorrow, but people camped out for it. I went to Universal Studios for Harry Potter Fan Fest down there, and that completely sold out. They had, the Sorting Hat and everything like that. So my assumption is this isn't just going to be a Pokemon Go Fan Fest event. Like, they have to have other things. They're going to have houses of Slytherin, Gryffindor, and all that stuff. And I if this doesn't sell out, I'll be surprised.
Well, see, yeah, I know that like Harry Potter is big and people love it, but I don't feel like this game is gonna be fun. You're gonna have to like, as a Harry Potter,
Hey,
you're
man,
fan.
personally, I didn't think Pokemon Go was fun, but I played it.
Well, I
You know what I
think
mean?
Pokemon Go. I mean, there's
I don't think
issues
Pokemon
that
Go is a good game.
Pokemon Go was simple, and you kind of once you had caught a lot of Pokemon, you were kind of like, okay, and then they built on it and made it better, and
Yeah.
now like it's a legit good game. You have a lot of things that you're working towards, and a lot of interesting stuff. But I like the base game of this isn't great, and I feel like as a Harry Potter fan, you're gonna kind of be like pushing through it. It's like that. It's like that one other Harry Potter mobile game that they released a little bit ago that was it had all that pay to win stuff. Like you kept running out of energy. There's a friend of mine who's really into Harry Potter, and she ended up getting tired of getting gated by the energy stuff so far that she just was like, I want to know the story, but I'm done with this. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. I will say though, you're talking about how it's like it's just kind of a bad thing at launch. So if people want to play it, they kind of have to push through. Honestly, I feel like that is absolutely what a lot of Pokemon fans did. Pokemon Go was broken. It was a broken mess at launch. Like
Yeah.
it was a badly designed thing. So if people like it and the universe enough, and if they have some friends playing, then they'll stick through. Like there will be people. It's not going to be nearly as successful, but there will be people playing it.
I think yeah, the Pokemon Go that we got at launch had a lot of issues, but it also was such a phenomenon that that like being part of that community helped glaze over the you know, defects.
But that's the thing too. I feel like people will have that in their own little friend groups.
Yeah.
Like I've already seen a couple of people go out like as a group being like just because they like Harry Potter and they went out doing that. So I'm like, all right.
I also think it's safe to say that Harry Potter Wizards Unite wasn't designed for us. Like it was designed for, you know, the casual gamer who's like, you know, playing Candy Crush on the side, and then when they're out and about, oh, let me try this Harry Potter Unite. Because, I mean, the whole tracing of the fingers doing spells, that's a lot easier than tossing a Pokeball is.
I actually like some of the basic spells, yes. I got to some of the harder level stuff that you have to do it super fast. You have to both be accurate and fast. That's because I was trying to be accurate, but then I realized that you have to be fast also, and I was like, oh, okay.
So that shows how little time I put into this game.
Yeah, I tried. I was like, okay, I'm gonna catch some stuff, and then I'm gonna go try one of the towers. And it took me forever to figure out how to attack back. I just was like, okay, I have to defend, and he keeps hitting me. It's going badly. And then eventually I figured out how to attack and just barely survived the level 1 of the tower. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm done. I don't know. I guess once this comes out, we'll find out how well it did. But speaking of something that did do well, Summer Games Done Quick just ended. And they blew away their fundraising goal and hit, let's see the exact number, $3,5,788.87. So that is an insane amount of money raised for Doctors Without Borders. If you don't know, Games Done Quick is a speedrunning event. It actually happens twice a year. There's Summer Games Done Quick that happens in Minneapolis, and there's Awesome Games Done Quick, and that's in the winter, and I don't know where that one is. But there's just a lot of cool speedrunning stuff where they'll have people competing, different speedrunners, or I know I saw it was really cool. Somebody played Punch Out and Super Punch Out at the same time using the same controller. And it was like, wow. I love the weird stuff. Like a basic speed run is okay, you're kind of glitching the game or something. But the kind of weird stuff, I love to see that. But yeah, it is amazing the amount of money they've been able to raise for Doctors Without Borders doing this, and hopefully the trend will continue in future, at Awesome Games Done Quick and maybe future Games Done Quick events.
I don't know if you saw it this year, but Funhouse over at Rooster Teeth, they did Games Done Slow, where they, as Games Done Quick brought up a game, they tried to keep up with them, and it was just comedic because like they're playing these games so fast for the charity, and then these guys are just like, yeah, we don't know how to do any of this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But apparently there was somebody else who raised quite a bit of money, Teddy.
Yeah, so every year, Guardian Con is an event that is put on in Tampa. Usually this year it is in Orlando. It is actually happening this weekend. I went last year. I'm very sad that I'm not going this year. But leading up to it, they do a 24-hour marathon. How many? They do it for like 4 days or something like that. They do it for a long time. They have like a whole schedule of people, and they switch them out every 4 hours. And at the end of that, they do it for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. And last year, they earned over $2 million. And this year, they earned $3,721,097. In the last 4-hour block, Dr. Lupo almost raised $1 million himself in 4 hours.
Wow.
He raised $920,000 in 4 hours. It was really, really crazy to see. It was awesome. So yeah, that is still going on too. I think they keep that open at all times. I would really like to do one myself, just because like they let they have it open so that anyone can do their own thing to go towards that same cause and that same like pool. Same cause. Yeah. So yeah. $3 million, all closing like kind of close to $4 million, and that all goes to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, which is a really good cause. That is like the parents who bring in their kids don't have to pay for anything when they go. It's awesome.
Yeah, what's incredible about that is we talked about this on my show, I think, last week or something, and if you looked at Guardian Con, they've only been around since like 2015 or 2016, I think.
Yeah.
And since the first charity stream that they did, they've raised over $8 million for St. Jude's, which is just mind-blowing.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. Somebody asked Broman how much it had been since they started, and it was like, right now it's over $8 million. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's killer.
They started in a bar as a Destiny, like, there were a couple people in town, like, couple of Destiny content creators, and they were like, oh, let's just do a meetup in this bar, and then apparently, like, hundreds of people showed up, and that was the first Destiny con that eventually formed into Guardian Con, and they made it bigger and bigger.
Also, if you're excited about charity, you should go to lastgeek.com/extralife and help raise money for local children's hospital. It's great. Apex Legends Season 2 is going to be starting up by the time this podcast is out. It literally tomorrow. We're recording this on the 1st, and I believe the new season starts on the 2nd. We got a trailer showing off the new character, but we got two more interesting things. We saw that the map is changing. One of the towers fell in the little trailer they showed, and that brought in monsters, dragon-looking creatures that it appears will be on parts of the map, which is awesome. I guess they are called Leviathans, and they will be roaming around and stepping on everything in sight. So that, Call of Duty had that on their Battle Royale a little bit. They had the zombies that you could encounter. But I love, in addition to there being players, a computer-controlled element to kind of make things more interesting. So I won a match of Apex very early on, and then was like, going out on top. I'm done, and maybe I'll have to hop back in and check out one of these Leviathans myself.
Yeah, Apex Legends for me is one of those games that I haven't felt it in a while, but it's just like every announcement they make, I'm just like, oh man, I can't wait to try that. I can't wait to do that. And the dragons, I don't know if you'll be able to ride them or if they're just going to be attacking you along with the Leviathans that are stepping on people. Like, it's it's cool. And the one thing out of the entire trailer that I really thought was cool was they added skydive emotes. So not only when you're dropping out of the plane, now you can do backflips, you can do twirls, you can shoot off guns. So they're adding custom ability. Like, nobody asked for that, but yeah, I'll spend some money for some skydive emotes for sure.
I think this is a thing that Fortnite is very good about. Fortnite like changes up their map quite a bit, and seeing Apex Legends do that is good, because that is an issue with these battle royales, that after a couple weeks people learn the map and know exactly where everything is, and if you're hopping in now, you don't have that knowledge, and you're just gonna get your ass kicked, and you're just gonna have to lose a bunch until you learn that. But with them changing the map, everyone's gonna have to relearn it, so it gives new players an opportunity to jump in at the start of the season and like learn the map while everybody else is, along with, like, you know, no one's gonna know like how to react to the Leviathans, or you know what the new meta is, and I feel like these seasons kind of give players a new opportunity to jump in.
The other thing is cool is they're bringing in the gun from Titanfall. So they're bringing back stuff from original Respawn games. So
Yeah.
My hope is that they'll bring Titans, which is probably never going to happen, but it would be so sick.
It would be cool as a like limited event.
Mm-hmm.
I could absolutely see them doing it as a game mode, but
Yeah.
like not just in the regular one.
Titan Royale.
Like, I think that would be sick, because you've got the like monsters in there, so you could have like kind of like a Godzilla versus mech fight going on,
Like a Pacific Rim style game. That'd be so sick.
that would
Yeah.
be pretty dope.
You know what else is dope?
Yeah, tell me.
Final Fantasy XIV, apparently, says my friend Super Killer Bunny, and I will see myself in the next week or so. Hopefully I like it as well. But there is a live action television series being produced based around the Final Fantasy XIV world. I believe it's definitely done by the same studio that's making the Netflix Witcher, which is, by the way, real quick side note, there were new images that came out for that today that look really good.
Yeah,
And I'm like, okay, let's go. I
was gonna mention that, because up until this point, Henry Cavill has looked so bad as Witcher. I can't think of his name right now.
Which was just like one teaser.
Geralt.
Yeah, Geralt. Yeah, we saw some early. I think we saw some like behind the scenes, and he looked bad. And then they showed a quick thing with him like walking towards the camera, chugging some potion, and then walking away, and it looked real bad. But in the pictures that we're seeing now, he doesn't look perfect. He doesn't look like the character that we know, but he doesn't look bad.
Oh, I think he looks so good. He's not gonna look exactly like the character model, but he looks really good. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I feel like he needs to be a little bit wider, I feel like he doesn't have quite the build that I'm used to seeing Geralt with, but otherwise he looks pretty good.
Yeah. But yeah, this is done by the same studio. Hivemind, the company behind The Witcher, is developing the series. Ben Lustig and Jake Thornton have been tapped to write the series and will also be part of a 5-person executive producer team. We are working tirelessly to bring together artists from around the world who are united in honoring the extraordinary legacy of this franchise and its millions of fans around the world, Jason Brown, Hivemind's co-founder, said in a statement. So, from my very limited knowledge of Final Fantasy XIV so far, that lore and that world is very, very, very deep and very specific and very different from any other fantasy. Like, it's weird, and one of the reasons why I was put off from that game for so long is because the aesthetic and the world of that game is very much not high fantasy. It's very much not regular Lord of the Rings, World of Warcraft. Like, it is very much its own thing. Like, it's its own weird kind of Final Fantasy thing that is hard to get used to when you're not used to it. But I hope that they treat this well. It is, I believe, the second most populated MMO at the moment. I'm pretty sure it's right behind WoW, if not above WoW, with how BFA is doing right now. So there will be a lot of people who are super into it, super interested. So we'll probably see more of that a long time from now because they're still working on Witcher. That comes out in the fall.
Let me pose this question to you guys. Do you think 14 was their first choice?
I mean, yeah.
Maybe for a TV series, maybe. Just because that is like the MMO already. It's just by being an MMO, there already is a ton of lore to pull from. But like if they were doing a movie or something, maybe I would definitely pick one of the other games for that, like one of like 7, you know.
I mean, they've done a 7 movie.
Not live action though.
Well, I guess. But I was gonna say no because they were pushing 15 so hard. They remade it in several, like they made a chibi version. They put it out on everything that would do.
I mean, that would be Square's choice. Like, I think that was Square's first choice would be like, yeah, do one on 15, make it for 15. But like, but this studio maybe not.
Oh, okay. But I think 15, like, they were pushing it so hard, but it didn't, like, eventually they had to cancel DLCs for 15. I guess, no matter what they did, it didn't take off the way they wanted it to.
It's also interesting, too, because it's like, if you think about it, either Square came to this studio or tried to shop it around. Like, Square either had the idea for a Final Fantasy TV show and, like, let's just say for a 14 TV show and tried to shop it around different studios, or they came to this studio and was like, hey, we want you to make a Final Fantasy thing. We'd like it to be 15, but like, or this studio came to them and said, hey, we want to make one about 14 or about Final Fantasy. And they said, okay, you can have 14. Like, this could have been done in a lot of different ways, you know?
But if you really think about it, I think 14 for Square is probably the best thing because
it's the smartest choice.
Yeah, it's going to be a Netflix show, so it's going to be there for a long time. And this is the game that if somebody watches it and gets really into the lore, that game's always going to be available for them to jump in and give Square some constant money. It's an MMO. They're going to be, you know.
Well, and the cool thing about it as well is, like, unlike Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 10, which are the other popular ones, you're playing as a character in that game. So you're like, for example, with 10, you're playing as like Tidus and you're going through his journey. So if they were to do a cinematic version of that, you're going to have fans who'd be like, whoa, that's not the story. Whereas with this being an MMO, it kind of opens it up from a story perspective of what you're able to do.
From what I've heard about 14 too, is that it is very much like a narrative focused MMO. Like, it is a story that it starts from the beginning and goes through. Like, like there's not a I think you can buy a boost, but it's not like with WoW where when the new expansion comes out, it comes with a character boost and you just boost your character up and play that content. Like, it is way more focused on like, no, you should start from the beginning and understand what's going on here. So I don't know, it seems very ripe for it. So yeah, we'll see how that turns out.
I will say that there was a really cool game show thing that happened a while back, and I'm so upset with myself that I'm blanking on it. But there was a game, it was a MMO shooter, and they came out with a show.
Defiance.
Yeah, Defiance, and it was on Sci-Fi, and the game and the show took place in different locations. You would watch the show and then a mission related to that would happen in the game, and then sometimes the characters in the show would reference the characters from the game and the events that kind of happened in that, because obviously the characters in the game were voice actors and didn't look the same. They never came over to the other side, but we would often see the characters from the show in the game. And that Defiance was a great show. It was Game of Thrones with sci-fi stuff. I am sad that it got canceled. The game is still out there and still ticking.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I've heard of this a long time ago. This happened, I mean, this started like on PS3.
Yeah.
And there was a Defiance, and you could get it on PC too. And
yeah, it's on PC, and I think it's either coming to or has come to PS4. They're remastering it for the new consoles.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't know if it's a remaster or if they made another game. Because I know that recently they talked about like a new one for...
No. Sadly,
PS4.
no. I would love that, but it seems like it's just the old content brought to the new consoles.
Yeah. Interesting.
But it was a cool concept.
I always wanted to play it, so It seems like my kind of jam.
I mean, it's great if you go get the old show, because I imagine there's a way to trigger the show's events or missions, so that way you could like watch the episode and then go trigger the mission for that and be like, oh yeah, it was very good.
So cool. What a world we live in.
Yeah,
It's too much cool entertainment stuff. That's so awesome.
yeah. I mean, the game could have been better. I don't know. Maybe if it was on a different network, if the show was on a different network, or the game was better, I don't know what it would take to make that experiment succeed. But it was a cool experiment, and I would love to see something like that happen again.
You know what Tim Sweeney is experimenting with?
Kinder eggs?
No, he's experimenting with shaking up the PC gaming status quo.
Oh shit,
right.
we're on that news story. Sorry.
yeah, you skipped one.
I did.
No, so Tim Sweeney is the CEO of Epic, and there's been all sorts of controversy with the Epic Game Store and whatnot, and people aren't liking it and all that shit. But somebody on Twitter responded to one of his tweets. Right, this is. I'm not even gonna go off of the article. I'm going off of the tweet because this is basically what matters. This guy, Raven67854, he said, so your answer to breaking the 70-30, which is referring to the split that developers get and publishers get, which is, what is it? It's the developer gets I can't remember what it is. Does the developer get 70 or the 30? I think they get the
developer
70.
gets 70.
Yeah, they get the 70 and the publisher gets 30. And with Epic Game Store, they're trying to make it so that with the Epic Game Store, the cut is like 88 and 12. So the developer gets 88% and the publisher only gets 12%, which is a lot better. So this person said, so your answer to breaking the 70-30 is just to buy games out, lower competition by locking them to you, while having a subpar store that doesn't come anywhere near close to Steam's features. Why not just let games go on both Epic Game Store and Steam? Or are you just afraid that nobody would want to purchase from your store? I mean, years ago you complained about Microsoft doing this very same thing, and now here you are doing it. Oh well, it is what it is, I guess. And he responded, we believe that there's no set of features which Epic or any other store could add that would be so revolutionary as to lead a large-scale move of gamers from a dominant storefront to a new one. We believe the lock-in effect of having a large library of games on a dominant storefront is more powerful than features, and hence a dominant store can only be challenged through exclusives. Here's an article where Bill Gates explores a similar topic. So yeah, he is basically saying that like to make any sort of change happen, to add a better split, yeah, we have to lock exclusives because no one's gonna come otherwise. Even if there are like incredible features on this store that like nobody else has, like features aren't gonna drive it. It's gonna be games.
Yeah,
he's a smart man.
I will say there is a game that I have on my wish list on Steam. I can't remember the after party. It's a game where
that is a game.
The people die and they have to party to get out of hell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's after
and
party.
Epic had a deal where they had certain games that were $10 off if you bought them on the Epic Store, and this game was already $20, so it was like that's half off. And I was like, I love having games on Steam. It's nice to have all my games in one place, but that's a hell of a deal. But so I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick up on the Epic Game Store. But I will say, I ended up picking up Epic Enter the Gungeon on the Steam store, and then I later was told, and I think this is true, that Enter the Gungeon was free on the Epic Game Store, and I was thinking about it, and I think I probably redeemed that. I probably already had the game for free and bought it on Steam. So, but if Epic was the only place to buy it, then I would, if I want to play the game, I would have to play it there because that's, having all your games in one place is a great feature. Like, that's why Steam is top dog. Like, you don't want to leave that ecosystem because it's great to have it all in one place, and the only way to do that is to not make that an option. I totally get that point of view.
Yep, he's a smart dude.
Darian, is there anything that'll ever get you on Epic?
Nope.
What about Monster Prom 3?
Nope.
No game could ever come out to the Epic Game Store that would get you to download a free client.
Kingdom Hearts. You would.
Nah, whatever version they put on the Epic Game Store is probably gonna be shit anyway. TBH.
Wow. What did Epic
That
do
is
to
coming
you?
from zero knowledge because you have not downloaded the client.
I don't know what Epic.
That's a lie. I've had Fortnite before. I've had their client.
Okay. Yeah? Did
just
Fortnite
don't
run like
want it
shit? Was it
anymore.
broken?
What?
Did Fortnite run like shit? Was it like broken?
No, it's fine.
Do you just hate it because
Yeah,
of Fortnite?
I just
What
hate Epic
exactly?
because of Fortnite. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you have other clients. Like you have EA's client. You have Sims.
I don't.
What? You have EA's client?
No,
Oh my
I
God.
can't run EA's
Okay.
client. See, this is my problem with clients is I wanted to play The Sims and I wanted to play Apex and Origin broke and now I can't reinstall it. I've deleted every program, every file associated with Origin and reinstalled it and now I can't get it to work.
Yikes.
Fuck downloading new clients. I've got the ones that work and it's got the games that I want to play. I'm not doing anymore. Fuck this. I spent money on these games and I can't play them because the fucking client won't work. Why should I try with other ones? I know Steam works. I know how to fix Steam when it breaks. I can't fix these other ones. Fuck this.
That's the whole idea, is because those games aren't available on Steam. If you want to play a certain game, they're only available on place.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm too scared.
My computer's gonna blow up.
I've been hurt before. Never again.
I've been hurt.
Speaking of fuck EA,
Damn.
EA,
10 out of 10. Yeah.
EA, who is it? It was Carrie Hopkins, the vice president of legal and government affairs for EA, was talking about loot boxes. They responded to the members of parliament who had asked if the publisher had any ethical qualms about loot boxes. He compared loot boxes to Kinder Eggs, which are the chocolate treat with toy inside. I think they were banned in America due to the choking hazard involved with the fact that like kids would just eat the entire egg and not know that there's something inside that should not be eaten.
Because kids are stupid.
Yeah, kids are stupid. But
Very true.
I think there's new ones out that the thing inside is edible. I think so because there's Disney.
Play it safe.
I think there's Disney Kinder Eggs that you can get now.
Oh, you can 100% go to. When I was at Walmart today, they had Kinder Eggs at the checkout.
Yeah, so I think they're back. I think they just have to make sure what's ever inside is edible. So if a kid just goes to town on it, he's not gonna choke on it.
So some dumbass kid just eats the candy with the toy inside.
But Hopkins said people like surprises when comparing it to the Kinder Eggs or the Hatchimals, a blind box style toy hidden inside an egg. Apparently he's really into egg-based things. He said, "We do think the way we've implemented these kind of mechanics is quite ethical and quite fun. They aren't gambling, and we disagree that there's evidence that shows they lead to gambling." Of course you would say that. Like, the guys who created the guns were like, these would never be used for bad. This is a good hunting tool to feed your family, and I don't see why anybody would say this could lead to murder.
I don't know about that.
But,
So, can I ask a question? Cracker Jacks. Are those loot boxes?
yes, I mean,
Hell yeah.
I mean, there is a shit ton of things that I could tell you that are loot boxes.
So
right
do
here.
we ban? Yeah. Okay, so that's a great question. Where do we stop with this? Let's say the United States bans loot boxes for EA. Do we ban Pokemon cards? Because that could be considered a form of gambling. You're putting $3 down for a blister pack. You don't know what's inside. It could get you excited. It could make you sad. How far does this go?
Here's the thing. I think that this is a little bit better than Overwatch skins or something, because this is at the end of the day, you're getting a physical item, and it might be a card.
Who's to say that's better than a digital item?
Because it's
I'd rather have my 730 skins in League of Legends than any Pokemon cards.
Yeah, because
They
when you
bring
open
me
up a
so much
blister
more
pack,
joy.
you're just gonna get like 7 green energy cards from Pokemon and then 1 nice card.
But
Yeah,
Fuck
it's
that.
the same kind of thing.
yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that like the issue with loot crates is like you've got the ones with EA that blew up the whole thing was that they're game affecting. That's literally the case with Pokemon cards. You got good Pokemon cards, you will
very
win
much
the
affect
game.
the game.
Yeah.
I think where the gray line is on this is loot boxes and pay-to-win mechanics are being compared side to side when they're really 2 different things.
Yeah.
There are good loot boxes out there.
Yeah.
That aren't predatory, but anything that's pay-to-win, that's where you have the argument that I agree with. That it's like, yeah, this should not be in gaming. When Star Wars Battlefront 2 had pay-to-win mechanics, I think everybody agreed on that. But you look at like, any loot box mechanic that's out there, there's probably a couple of them that I could think of. Like Destiny has a couple that I'm like, yeah, when they had the holiday events, they do loot boxes. Those aren't predatory. You don't have to buy them. They don't affect anything.
Yeah, cosmetic only stuff is great, and yes, there's a lot of loot crate things that exist, especially in the real world. That any trading card thing has that. But I think the one thing that needs to be done to all of these things is just tell me the odds. And I think that it very much exists in Pokemon cards, that I could look up what my chance of getting a Charizard out of this pack is. And knowing that and knowing your chances might affect your chance of going after it. Otherwise, without going into that, I could spend $1,000 looking for one skin in Overwatch, not knowing that it's 1,000,000 to 1 shot. The lottery will tell you. If you buy a lottery ticket, it will tell you what your chance is. And I think that it's only fair for us to have that for Overwatch skins or League skins or anything.
That would be really good.
It would be great if they're not game affecting, and I think it sucks. I mean, there's people who play Pokemon just to collect them, and that's a thing. Mm-hmm. And why you're coming to it is different. But just tell me the odds. And the very opposite of Han Solo. I want to know the odds.
It's literally, yeah, you said it earlier. I was like, never tell me the odds.
I think that would be a huge thing, and don't make it game affecting. Don't make it pay to. There's like I talked about a Kingdom Hearts mobile game that you can't win unless you have the right stuff in your Keyblade, but that would be great if it wasn't pay to win. But at the end of the day, if that's the only thing that changes out of this is that they list the odds for everybody, that would be great.
Yeah. All right, so this last story I'll go over pretty quickly. I added this on here because I saw it a few days ago, and I thought that this should be today when I was like getting ready to come on. I was like, oh, we should talk about that one. I read through this whole article. I'm not going to read all of it. There's definitely a lot of like different little minuscule stuff, but the idea is that Twitch recently announced and released a thing where you can stream only for your subscribers. You can do subscriber only streams, and that's had its whole other bit of controversy within the Twitch community just because the people have opinions. But apparently there is like statements in the terms of service for Blizzard, Valve, Riot, and CD Projekt Red that basically all say that you can't create like a product or something on this game using their game or on this game that is behind a paywall. Like everything they make for this game has to be free. And there's different like, let me see if I can find it. I believe it's Riot and Blizzard. It's like two of these out of the 4 are like they mention a partner program. Like one of them specifically mentions YouTube, but like kind of leaves it open for the others. But like I think it's I think it's Valve and CD Projekt Red. I'll have to look to be sure, but I think those two are the ones that like mention a partner program, and then Blizzard and Riot are just like, or yeah, Riot for sure is very specific on theirs. It's like listed. They literally like go through Twitch, or like you can people can send you donations, blah blah blah. They kind of go through like how it is to be a Twitch streamer, and they're kind of specific on that. So I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know if any of these companies really mind that much. It's a new feature. Like I think they just didn't make the terms of service with it in mind, you know?
I think with all things, they're probably not going to care until it becomes an issue. And then they're going to say, you know, if you do something that pisses them off enough, they're going to go, well, you broke our terms of service. But for your general person, they're not going to be looking at every single person and you know, throwing up red flags for everybody. But
if they care enough, they'll alter the terms of service to add in a like, or if they care enough, they'll alter it in to be specific about it. Or if they realize, you know, if they see this article and realize that they, you know, kind of aren't catering towards it and they want to, then they'll change it.
But there's also no real difference between this new feature and Patreon.
yeah,
Like, if I'm putting up a Let's Play on Patreon that's behind a paywall, I mean, it's the same thing as a subscriber-only stream.
Yeah. Let me look it in here. I believe it's, Blizzard. Blizzard, in their terms of service, mentioned how, like, it's kind of okay, and they're aware that people, like, put it up behind a paywall for, like, premium viewing, but, like, that's to say that, like, as long as it gets free at some point, like, they kind of mention how Patreon people can do it, like, early access, but not everybody does. It's interesting.
Well, so I totally get their point of view, though, because the reason to have your game, allow streamers and content creators to play your game, is because it is advertising for your game. If, like, I see Darian play League of Legends, I might go, oh, Darian's cool, I want to play what she's playing, and I'll start playing League of Legends. But by putting it behind a paywall, that means less people are going to see that. That's less advertising for them. It's less incentive for them to want you to be benefiting from their work. So I get why they would keep that clause in there.
I don't know who it was, but somebody on Twitter was talking about this feature and said it makes more sense from a movie studio perspective, where, let's say Amazon Studios has a brand new movie coming out and they create a Twitch account and they're like, hey, on Twitch, you can watch our movie first for $4.99 and you can watch it with all your friends. From that perspective, yeah, that's a cool concept, but video games, I don't know if I'm going to pay $4.99 to watch Dr. Lupo play Fortnite or, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen kind of the discussion around this, and I think there's a lot of people saying that they don't think a lot of streamers are going to use this feature for playing games. It's probably going to be IRL streaming for, like, hey, I'll do Q&A with my with my subscribers, or it's kind of like a more like, hey, you get to engage with me in a way that you're not able to normally because there's a bigger chat. So I mean, I imagine there will for sure be people playing games on there. Hopefully, the ones that they're allowed to. But I could see this being a lot of IRL streaming under that.
When I come back to Twitch, all of my streams are going to be subscriber only.
Eventually, it offers like a 5-minute preview too, so eventually people will keep seeing it, a little bit of it, and they'll have to be like, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I got to.
I gotta know what's in there. Like,
Yeah, I gotta
what's
know
he
what's
saying?
up.
Yeah.
He's just wearing a chicken suit, and I gotta know why.
Why would he be wearing a chicken suit?
I do some crazy things on my show.
I mean, he does. I wouldn't be surprised if he's been in a chicken suit at least once. I had something insightful to say, but I can't remember what it was. So just like think of something insightful about this and imagine I said it. And yep.
Wow, Bryce, I can't believe you actually came up with that. Is amazing.
I know.
I'd
I
never
know.
thought of that. That's genius.
What a great point.
Yeah.
I was being interviewed about being a content creator once, and the article never got published because the chick ended up losing her job before she got the article out.
Aww.
Yeah, it kind of sucked. But But
Yikes.
I was staying with my girlfriend while being interviewed, and I look over at my girlfriend once in a while and be like, this sounds really good, doesn't it? I think I'm saying some smart stuff. She's like, yeah. Anyway, speaking of Patreon, I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon producers, including my girlfriend, Erin C., and not my girlfriend, Dragons Lucas. Thank you for being a Patreon producer and helping make this great content and these great discussions. And also, there's going to be some Let's Plays behind the paywall. I don't know which ones are okay, so let's not tell the cops. But if you're not a cop and you want to see some cool stuff, go to patreon.com/lastgeek, and for $1, you'll be able to see Patreon exclusive content, which in August will be coming out with the new Ready Set Gamecast exclusive episode. We'll also be launching Let's Plays that'll be coming early to Patreon, and then a month later coming to everybody else. And for $5, you can get a shout out on each episode of Ready Set Gamecast, like Aaron C. and Dragons Lucas did. There's other tiers. August is going to be a Patreon month. We're going to have a lot of big stuff going on for that, and I'm going to be speaking of a lot more then. But thank you to the people who currently support, and hopefully you enjoy the content we offer. But let's get into the topic of the show. With Telltale's games the latest casualty of video game licensing, should there be more effort to preserve games and make them available for people to experience even when the company isn't around or isn't interested in selling them anymore? To elaborate a little bit more, Telltale's games, The Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us, everything they've made has been disappearing from game stores. You can't get it on Steam, Xbox, anywhere, because the company went down and their games are disappearing with it. I mean, this isn't the first time we've seen a game, disappear due to weird stuff. The most notable one being PT, the playable teaser for Silent Hill, that once that game was canceled, they pulled that off, and unless you already own that, you are not able to play that. But I will say that both the Telltale games and PT are influential to gaming history. You could argue that games are art, and thus this is art history that we're losing. I in the last couple of years, we have seen a lot of games that are influenced by PT, like the most recent Resident Hill, or not the remake, but the was it 5? RE7. Yeah, that was very PT-esque. But the fact is that the game that inspired all these games, a lot of people cannot play because of the weird licensing issues with this. Do you think there should be more done or something done to make these games accessible even when the companies aren't interested in doing that?
So I think from a preservation standpoint, games like Telltale and games like PT, they've been preserved in a sense of YouTube. You can go watch, I know Crave Snow has done a ton of YouTube videos about Telltale, so I could watch them play it. I can't play it physically, but in a sense they've been preserved. I just don't know. You're talking about so much data. And maybe one day when you have these services like Stadia coming out, that maybe Google will be like, hey, we're coming out with these Telltale games that you can play. But I just don't even know where you would begin to create a national or a global database of video games. And then how do you determine who makes the cut and who doesn't?
Well, I mean, I think everybody should make the cut. I mean, I guess we have the Library of Congress, or I think that's the place, where there is a catalog of all the famous books and stuff that they have a copy of that categorizes that or preserves that history. And I think there is some clauses in there for like video game preservation for them, that you like they will have a copy of this stuff. But
I
like,
hope so.
yeah,
I didn't know that was a thing.
but
I hope that's a thing.
yeah,
That sounds
I'd have to research that a little bit more to get the specifics of what the Congress has in terms of that sort of media. I think, you know, they'll get that for movies and stuff. But I mean, speaking of like movies, like, I mean, I don't think YouTube is a great. It's fine for a certain experience, but it's not having your hand on the controller. Like playing PT and watching PT is very, very different experience, because it's like going to a haunted house versus watching a scary movie. Like,
yeah, I mean, the idea of like that it is preserved through YouTube is great, and it's true, but it's definitely not the same. And I mean, the like PT is absolutely a good example where like the environment and the atmosphere and whatnot adds to it and adds to the spookiness. But like Telltale games are like choice. Like those games are built around like having your save, you know.
And you could probably find a YouTube video of every single
That
choice.
has exactly your save.
Yeah,
Like,
but I mean,
hard.
it's the fact that your hands are on the controller of making that choice of,
yeah.
and that emotional impact is what makes video games unique over a book or a movie or something. And if you're not saving that aspect of it, then you're not saving the art.
Yeah, I mean, this came up because last show, one of the news stories was like, if you don't download Minecraft Story Mode right now, you won't be able to, even if you own it. Like, even if you purchased it, you can't download it. Like, we're not letting you download it. And I immediately, like, later, after the show, I got really sad about it. I was like, man, this sucks. And I get, video games have always, and will always be, a weird intersection of business and art. And, like, seemingly more driven by business than a lot of other entertainment industries, sadly. Just, like, it's not exactly true, but, like, it seems like it's true. But I went to look up, like, if I wanted to get Minecraft Story Mode Season 2 on disc, or even Season 1, just, like, to have the disc, so, like, offline, I could play it, right? It doesn't exist. They didn't make it. Like, they made the Season 1 disc, but it has the first episode, and then you have to download the rest, and they did the same for Season 2. They have a complete Season 1, and they did that after the fact, but they didn't do it with Season 2. So, like, if I wanted to preserve this just so I could have it, so that I could play it on my console, like, on, like, just offline on a disc, you can't. It doesn't exist. Like, that's where I'm like, that's where I get concerned about preservation.
And I saw a news story earlier today about Microsoft. If you bought a ebook through Microsoft, that it will be deleted from your device soon, because you didn't buy the ebook, you bought a license to it. They can take that away from you.
Yeah, you're not buying any of these games. And any game you buy digitally, you're not buying the game. You're buying the license to the game that the store can do what they want with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that's the
scary.
society we've come to. I mean, you look at Netflix,
Yeah.
like The Office is leaving Netflix.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the only show I watch on Netflix. So, it's just who we are. It's where we're at in a entertainment perspective, whether it's books, video games, or even music. Like, if Spotify wanted to shut down tomorrow, I lost all of my Spotify music. If Apple decided for some reason they wanted to get out of music, I've lost all my Apple Music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's where we're at right now.
And I'm fully for digital, and I always kind of have been, but it's just, I don't know. I'm starting to get sad about it.
Yeah.
Starting to get a little scared by it.
There's such a great convenience about having it always, like, I mean, the Pokemon's coming out. I'm like, I'm gonna get the digital version so I can always have that. Smash Brothers, I have the digital one, so if anybody ever wants to throw down, I'm ready to go. But
My Switch is entirely digital. I bought the biggest micro SD card you can have so that I can just switch games on the fly, because it's what I do.
But yeah, like the Wii, they shut down the service. You can't re-download the stuff from there. So the people who bought the discs for their Wii games, those are gonna be able to play them, but the other people are losing them. But that's I mean, certainly a different discussion about the digital versus physical in terms of like owning. But I don't know, there's definitely, it sucks. The video games are such a unique thing, and they are the greatest culmination of everything we've made, because books are, one artist deal. They are just writing everything. And then music is sometimes different artists, but like movies have that a little bit, where you'll have, somebody shooting it. It's got pictures, it's got music, it's got writing, it's got all these things. But video games have all that plus interaction. And it's the most complicated thing. And because of that, it has so much licensing involved that, like, you can't get the original Earthbound with the original songs because of the licensing. And like when they do a new Burnout, like when they re-release Burnout, it might not have the original songs, and that makes it like not quite the game you remember.
Yeah. I think there's two sides to this. There's definitely the side that's like, man, I'd love to go back and play the Telltale side, but I also look at this from the perspective that on any given week, there's 21 to 30 games releasing across PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox. So even though I've lost Telltale, I look at it and I'm like, oh man, when am I going to play Telltale next? I have so many games that I need to check out. It's just, it's a hard argument for me to get. Like, if I were to lose a big game like Uncharted or like Last of Us, I think it would be a huge issue for me. But these smaller games, it's like, okay, I've played it once. There's really, like, especially Telltale. Once you've played Telltale and you've gone through the story arc, the different ways, there's really not there's no replay value to it other than going for the platinum.
I mean,
Yeah.
sure, but
Well, honestly, though, real talk, on my like howlongtobeat.com backlog, I had Minecraft story mode on here. Like, I had played the first 4 out of 5 episodes of the first season, and I genuinely liked it and was planning on going through and buying like the finishing, because there's like episodes 7, 8, and 9 in season 1, and then they do season 2, and I was gonna do it, and it's not anymore. Like, I just went on here and deleted it. I'm like, that's...
Look, we're talking about the looking back. I mean, you talked about The Office being on Netflix. That show's been dead for how long? But
Long time.
People keep rewatching it because it is that, thing.
Okay, but what
Yeah.
about Friends?
But it's also a weird comparison, too, because The Office is not going away completely forever.
Yeah.
Like, they're not
Right.
deleting it and not letting you do it, watch it anywhere. They're putting it on a different service. Whereas, like, if they were moving all the Telltale games over to only Xbox, it'd be weird.
Yeah.
But I'd be like, at least they're alive.
Yeah.
At least you can play them somewhere.
It's like they're being deleted from existence, unless the only place that these are going to exist on the people who manage to download them and never delete them. And if they're eventually those Xboxes are going to die.
Legit, Walking Dead Season 1 is one of my favorite like gaming experiences of all time. Like, I love that game. I've played Walking Dead Season 1 multiple times, which is weird. I shouldn't need to, but I have. I like that game a lot. So it's sad.
But I also think that there's a side to this that, like, comparing The Office to like Telltale, it's kind of a different argument, because like, yeah, if The Office leaves, like, that's a big show for Netflix. I think it's their number 1 show.
Yeah.
But if King of Queens were to disappear, or like Everybody Loves Raymond or some other TV show, not saying if you're into those shows that they're, not, but
Everybody
like,
Loves Raymond's classic sitcom,
yeah.
right?
Once again, somebody in their car is like, what did he say about that? No.
I love Kevin James.
But like, if a smaller show, like they do every single month, shows disappear and movies disappear. and we move on. Life moves on, and I think that's
but
the
it's
side
just
of it.
it's a different thing of disappearing. Like those Blu-rays still exist. You can still watch them in some way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like it would be like the equivalent there is like Game Pass, games switching out on Game Pass. You know, because they do that. They switch in and out.
This is very much like it feels like a piece of gaming history is just being ripped out of the history books, and the people who were there for it, who got to play the Telltale games and got to play PT, are going to have that in their memories. But you're not going to be able to show your kid that. You're not going to be able to go, man, there was this really cool game. Like there will probably be games that our kids play that are inspired by these games. I mean, there are many games that like are Telltale-esque. There's Life is Strange that has that very much like choice-based deal, and many games that are of that genre. But going back to the starting point, I think is so interesting from an artist's point of view, and being able to share that and stuff is really unique, and we're losing that because of licensing issues, and it sucks. It sucks.
It's sad business realities. It's really weird. It's just really weird because it's like you don't see this in any other medium, you know? Like I don't know. Maybe music, but like I still feel like those people would have physical versions of it. Like physical versions just don't exist for these. It's weird.
Is it just because video games have embraced digital culture so much more than any other realm of entertainment?
I think that's definitely part of it for sure.
Because I've got to imagine that this is going to become an issue for music, for movies and television. It hasn't, I guess, reared its head yet. It's just, I think it's video games. It's becoming an issue because we're dealing with it.
Yeah.
I will be curious to see if pirates have been able to back it up. I think pirates are going to be the ones who are going to save. Like
Bunny mentioned that in chat. He's like, they're going to exist on the Pirate Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, Telltale for sure. Getting a copy of PT would be more complicated because it was only on PlayStation. So you'd have to like figure out how to like crack in there and pull it off and get it working.
Or maybe the conversation about this is just the way the video games are distributed. I mean, the game we're talking about, Telltale, they were an independently distributed game. So when they disappeared, they were gone. You know, whereas like with movies and television, the production studio, whether it be Fox or Disney, they're the ones who have that property forever, so it doesn't disappear.
And
so maybe it's
much
just the
more
way
stable company.
Correct, yeah. So maybe it's just the way the video games are distributed, and that's the way we deal with the preservation issue. Is just I don't know how you can do that.
We give everything to the mega corporations. Disney must own it all, so it must exist.
Yeah, only buy your games on PlayStation. No, it's such a weird thing. I definitely agree with you guys that video game preservation needs to happen. Yeah. And if the Library of Congress is doing it, cool. But it's when I looked at that, if that was my job to be like, oh, I got to preserve all these games, all I hear is a headache because you're just looking at how much data that is.
Yeah, I mean, logistically, I don't necessarily see how to do it, but I want it done.
Yeah, well, I want it done, and I also want it made so that people can play it. So that if Telltale,
that's
because
lofty.
I mean, well, that's the thing about this that is so upsetting, is that the people who would be making money off it don't exist anymore. There's no more money to be made. So it's not hey, you can't play this because you need to pay for it, because you can't. We won't let you. But you can't play it anyway. So it would be great for the people to still be able to experience without having to go to the Library of Congress. And I don't even know if you could be like, yeah, I would like to play the Telltale game that you have. Or
they're like, get the fuck out of here.
Like, no, that's not how this works. We keep the stuff.
Let's go.
We keep it, and no one gets to look at it except the president, and he doesn't care.
Well, Bernie's going on Twitch, so he's going to be using that entire Library of Congress.
Yeah, I follow him on Twitch. It's a weird world we live in. Darian.
I think from a digital perspective, you could accomplish what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That if, the Library of Congress or some mega corporation decided to say, every single game, we're going to have it here digitally and then finance it through, I don't know, like a license fee where you're basically like, hey, I want to play this game. Okay, well, you can play Telltale, the first season of Walking Dead for $1.99. Okay, I'll do that. And that money goes to preserving the servers and keeping the upkeep. That's the only way logistically I think you could accomplish this.
Teddy, quick question. Okay,
Yeah.
say the original Halo, whatever, something happens, Bungie is wiped from the earth and that game is pulled off everything. Do you think it would be important for that game to be able to be shared, or you would want to be able to go, yeah, Destiny exists, that is Halo-esque, but do you think it would be important to show people the original Halo to see where it came from?
I mean, it's just, history is important in every aspect, as much as I hate it, because my dad is very much a history nerd and tried to make me one all of my life. But it's super important, like, it's very, very important to look back and be able to see where things came from. I mean, the origin of a lot of, like, first-person shooters on consoles started with, like, Halo 2 when it comes to that kind of multiplayer, right? Like, and when it comes to the single player, it kind of started with Halo 1. And, like, and Bungie evolved as a studio, and you saw that happening into what they do now. So it's like, and that was influenced by games around them. So if you just kind of started taking off things that happened, parts of history, you can't really see where things came from, you know?
Yeah. And I think there's games that are coming out now that are more like original Halo than they are like Destiny.
Splitgate,
Yeah, Splitgate's more like the original one with a twist, and it's like, would that exist if those developers were not able to play the first Halo? If they didn't have access to that, then we might not have Splitgate. So I think, and I would not be surprised if this continues to happen, that we ended up getting museums of video games.
Well, we actually, I'm actually headed up to one in Dallas. It's called the National Video Game Museum, and it's in Dallas. They have every single console ever made, and when you walk in, they break you down through the history of gaming. Like, this is the first console, here's the first video game Crash, here's the handheld section to show the evolution of handhelds, and they have games there, but that's a non-profit. That's literally just a collector who opened a museum in Dallas.
That is awesome.
It's not a government place, but it's a really cool facility.
Can you
really awesome.
Can you play the games, or is it just like, here's my Game Boy, no touch?
Well, and what's funny is that they have if you, for example, wanted to take your kids, or if you had kids and you're like, oh, I want to show you what it was like when I was a kid, they have bedrooms set up in, like, here's what a bedroom in the 1980s and the 1990s and 2000 is.
Oh,
and they have, like,
neat.
here's the console hooked up with the TV, here's the living room. They literally have every console that's ever been released with video games to play. They have a VR center so you can try every single VR headset. They have an arcade. It's a really cool facility, but it's run fully on donations. That's all it is.
Yeah, I just hope that our generation of games is able to exist in a museum like that. That somehow they're able to get a full copy of all the Telltale games, and someday we can take a kid and be like, hey, there was this really cool thing that existed when I was your age, and here's what it was. And you have a VR thing that you're standing there punching a Walking Dead boy in the face, but history is important.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You know what else is important? Housekeeping. And actually, before that, we have questions and comments. Darian, do you want to do the spiel and then say nothing else because we didn't get any?
Yeah, I mean, there's not any questions and comments.
Okay.
So I guess, I come to you hat in hand. Do you want to be a part of the show? Go to readysetgamecast.com/submit to submit a question, comment, or your favorite color for us to read on the show.
I think we did that one.
We've probably absolutely done that one.
yeah.
But you know
Green.
what? No one's ever done it. And that's it. There's no questions. Moving on.
Okay. Okay, this brings us to housekeeping. Go to lastgeek.com for links to the podcast on all your favorite podcast services, including iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher, as well as the video version on youtube.com/lastgeek. If you like the show, please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes and Stitcher. It helps us grow and become more powerful.
I almost always forget that's gonna happen.
I read the script.
Oh, it's like, oh shit.
Other Last Geek stuff you should check out. There's a new Game Make Corp episode. It's bear witness. I'm not proud of it. Derry, did you read the description of the episode?
No, I don't ever read the descriptions.
The description is like, sometimes Game Make Corp makes hilarious and funny episodes full of unique and funny games. This isn't one of those times. Last Geek has a merch store. Go to lastgeek.com/store to check out these stickers, t-shirts, and even leggings of your favorite Last Geek products, like this podcast. There's a t-shirt with my face and Darian's face and Teddy's face on there.
It's actually a really cool design.
And
It looks awesome.
We have cool guns, and we're gonna fight a big scary thing. And
Yeah, that's that poster you guys posted. That's a sick poster.
It's really good.
we have it on shirts and as a poster. And we're going to be at PAX West in a couple months. And if we see anybody wearing them, we will die. We will perish in front of you, and
Hold
you will
on.
watch
Want to
that.
kill us?
No.
I don't know. I might have a slight heart attack if I was just like walking around and a stranger was just wearing one of our t-shirts. Okay, this brings us to the end when we ask everyone on the podcast, hey, where can we find you, Bryant?
Well, you can find me on YouTube if you search the Nerf Report, or you can go to thenerfreport.com and find me over there. We post episodes every single Sunday, and also on Twitter at Bryant Chappel. And I gotta say, I really enjoy the content that you guys are putting out. Like, you guys do a really good job with this show. It's informative, and I think that when we're content creators like you guys are and like I am, we don't hear that enough of like, hey, you guys are doing a good job. And I just want to make sure you guys know it, because from the top down, this whole experience has been fun. I mean, Bryce, the gift basket that you sent over is absolutely fantastic. Just to show you guys,
You sent him
he
a
sent
gift basket?
a Google Pixel, some LaCroix, a Pokeball, and it was kind of weird, a little Jello, but I figured, hey, you know, what the heck? But I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate the opportunity to come on, and thank you guys so much for sharing this with me.
Yeah, dude, it was fun.
Oh, I don't like to let Teddy and Darian know about the gift baskets because Teddy, where can people hear from you?
Twitter.com/Teddy Chinaris and twitch.tv/Teddy Chinaris, youtube.com/Teddy Chinaris, I guess, if I ever do anything on there. But I don't know. I'm not making any promises yet because I definitely am bad at making promises. But I will say the other night, I think it was like, Saturday night? I was feeling some creative juices flowing. I was like, oh shit.
Gross.
Am I about to do something? And then I didn't. But I don't know. I really want to get back to making shit. So hopefully I will. I'll be back to. I definitely
Eat some food.
am.
Just eat some Taco
What?
Bell. It just really helps.
Yeah, of course.
Taco Bell, I make shit so quick.
God. I'm going to be streaming a bunch this week. Be sure to check the Twitter and the Discord for all of that. And I'll be playing some Destiny. The new quest comes out, so I'm gonna get that gun, do some raid night, and maybe I'll do some. I'll try out some of the Final Fantasy XIV on stream. I don't know, but I'll be playing all sorts of stuff. And I would like to start the Spider-Man DLC really badly, because I've had that for like 6 months, and I've platinumed that game, and I never started the DLC. So like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I have a whole backlog of games that are like sequel games that I've played all of the previous ones, but not the newest ones, and I own them, so I should get on that. So hopefully Spider-Man this week.
Maybe if you weren't trying to play 6 MMOs, maybe you could beat a single game.
Yeah, I mean, that's good advice.
Darian, where can people hear from you?
Twitch.tv/dexterity, DEXTERIDEE. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram.
What's your favorite game right now?
Breath of the Wild.
You say that like you're ashamed of it.
Teddy made it sound like 200 hours is a lot.
I mean, if you're enjoying it, then it's great. Any game, I miss those days when you were like when I was younger and could just like play Grand Theft Auto just as much as I wanted and juice every little minute out of that. I love those days.
Real quick, funny story. Talking about hours. When I started my channel, I got the great idea to go to Reddit and post on there and be like, "Oh, check out my video," and it was about Destiny. So I went into the Destiny subreddit and I was like, "Oh, I've played this game for 2,000 hours," and instead of 2,000, I wrote 200. And I just became
like,
the laughing stock of the entire subreddit. And I was like,
sad.
Delete Reddit? Never
I don't even have 2,000 hours on Destiny 1.
I think mine was on Destiny 1. I definitely had 2,000 hours on that.
I had about 1,400 by the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
God, casual Destiny player.
I know. What are you going to do?
Okay, last but not least, I'm Bryce. Nice to meet you. And I am on Twitter at LastGeek, on Instagram at LastGeekPlays. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/LastGeek. And Twitch, LastGeekPlays, which I will be streaming from in August for some Patreon stuff. And speaking of which, if you enjoyed any of this content and want to throw us $1, go to patreon.com/LastGeek. $1 would mean the world to us. And that's all I can think of. Thank you, and we will see you again in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
I'm going to see Spider-Man.